The future of player development. Where is player development heading? Where will player development be in the next 5 years? It's time for the question of the week, and today's question is, where will player development be in the next 5 years? Now, if you all are new to this channel, welcome. I want to thank you so much for coming to check out Beyond the Field Player Development. If you know anything about me, you know I'm all player development all the time, and I am excited about this topic. This topic is one that brings me a lot of joy because of what I know is happening in this space. So I did a podcast episode on player development growth, which you can find here, and there's been 192% growth in player development from when I started in player development 2016 till the 2023 football season. Now I did player development in college football, so I stick to what I know. Eventually, hey, let me know if you want me to do player development growth in other sports, pro leagues, different things like that. But from 2016 to 2023 in college football, Division I college football, there was 192% increase in player development professionals, those in the role of player development. That number is astounding. And so when I look at that number and it covers 7 years, the next question I hear from others who watch the episode, or even thoughts that I had myself, was like, where would this be in 5 years? What do we think it'll look like? What do I think it'll look like? One of the main things I think is going to happen, and I don't think it's going to take 5 years, I think it'll happen in about 2 to 3, is I believe that every Division I college football program will have someone in the player development role, or someone who has player development responsibilities. Right now there are 43 programs that do not have player development. All right, so you hear there's 43 programs without player development, so you may want to know how many Division I FBS programs there are. 133. And so I think that number will minimize. Like I said, I think that 43 really will be gone. I give it 3 years, tops 4, but every Division I FBS school will have somebody in the player development role. And I think that this won't only happen for football at the FBS level, Division I level. I believe this is going to start happening with every sport. When I was at Baylor, we had someone, women's basketball, softball, and soccer, and I was helping them create player development programming. And that was pretty cool to see it branch out to other sports. There are a lot of student athlete development professionals, shout out to the student athlete development professionals on campus who service all student athletes. 400 student athletes at some schools, 300, 500, 700 I've heard at one school, and they service all these athletes. And it's tough for them to get that deep. One thing I loved about being with a team and player development, you get that deep, full access, all access to the team. And I think what schools may do, athletic departments may do, and even student athlete development professionals may ask for, is to develop one team at a time. Or some may even say, can I develop, if there's a fall and spring sport, they may say, hey, can I develop this fall sport, this time this spring sport, to get that all access, because that's where a lot of impact is done. Now, those student athlete development people are getting it done in the role, servicing all the student athletes, but there is just a deeper impact you can have when you are focused on one group. So I think that as the Division I football FBS schools spread, that other sports will get directors of player development, and I think that there may be a natural transition of student athlete development staffs starting to branch out and take over those sports. In 5 years, I believe every Power 5 school will have not only someone in a player development role, I believe they all will have staffs. They will have more than one person servicing the student athletes. Now, I don't know if it's going to be called Power 5 in 5 years with the structures and these all that, who knows. But you get what I'm saying. Those Power 5 schools, those schools that get a lot of resources, those schools that are trying to separate themselves from other schools in their classification, for lack of a better word, I believe that they will have more than one person in the player development role. And honestly, I think the staffs will start no minimum at 3, where they got a director, assistant director, and someone else helping. So I definitely see that happening at every Power 5 school. Based on the structure we have now, that thing may change in the next year or two. But every single one of those schools will have multiple people in the player development space. Now, this one right here is something that I want it to happen in the next 2 years. This is my baby, but I believe the Beyond the Field Player Development Conference will be in person. Not I believe, it will be. It will be. The goal is in 2 years. 2 years. Now, if you are someone that likes conferences, or you're at the conference, you want to sponsor it and take care of all that stuff so we can be in person this next May, then hit me up. But I believe in 2 years, the Player Development Conference will be in person. And I think what we saw virtually, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, please check out this card right here. Check out this podcast I did right here talking about the Player Development Conference and just what it was. And you can check out this card here talking about what I wanted it to be. It was everything I wanted it to be. Everything I wanted it to be. People grew, network, partner, and people were able to get hired. And so I think that was, to be honest, it exceeded my expectation virtually. So I can only imagine how great it will be when we get it in person. So in the next 5 years, the Beyond the Field Player Development Conference will be in person. It will be the go-to conference for player development, professional development, and just networking, branching, creating a community, and just growing together. That will happen. And then finally, in the next 5 years, definitely within the next year, Beyond the Field, you checking out this page, checking out our website, we will be the go-to company, the go-to business, the go-to service for player development. We will service you fully, from you being in a role as a professional, to the programs you have, to if you're hiring someone you need to know, to speaking, whatever it may be. Beyond the Field will be the go-to player development service source for you all that are interested in player development and you all that are in player development. Thank you so much for checking out this week's question of the week. I am so excited, and I know I talked about, a lot of things there, and I particularly those last two things are close to my heart because it's my baby. It's what I've worked hard for. And if you're watching this video, you're interested in player development, I have a course, an online course just for you called The Guide to Player Development. Check it out in the show notes. It will help you create your player development outline and create impact immediately. Go fast. But thank you so much for checking out today's question of the day. And I hope, you know what? Let me know what you think, where you think player development will be in the next 5 years. I would love to hear your thoughts on where player development will be in the next 5 years. As always, go out and create generational impact. Don't wait, create that generational impact today. And check out this playlist of other questions of the week. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hey, y'all, get ready for it. Get ready for it. These next 5 years are going to be crazy. It's about to be a movie, so press record.